So this is the continuation of Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments, Riddles on the Rails. It's part 2. It is just the entire game itself, but this is like the second mission, or the second investigation. Whether they are connected or not, Black Peter and this, unknown. I don't think they are. If they're not, then, it's not so good. But starting off giving it points from yesterday, after I didn't evaluate it completely yesterday and gave it points because I was too tired. But starting off giving it points from yesterday, I would say how I gave it 1 point. Actually, I might have gave it 1 point yesterday, so I'll give it another point today. Um, the fact that this is one that you have to, as is stated in the name, it's more of a riddle, um, and you have to piece things together with regards to your environment. That's, to me, that's more interesting. Um, than again giving you clues and hints at certain places, and you have to piece it together. So, um, but then again, I don't completely know. So I wasn't completely fresh in my head the other day. So I'm going to go with. I'm going to start off positive with this one, and I'll say this is completely opposite from the last one, and maybe a tad better. But it all depends on how it's executed. It's very interesting, a disappearing train. So that's more interesting than an already dead man. So I'm giving a points for the suspicions and not suspense, not thrills, but the suspicions and believability of what a person sees and what's present. So I give it another point for that. So in total, I had this game after Black Peter one as 6.7, 6.5 to 6.7, and I gave it 2 more points to 1 point yesterday and another point today. Maybe I gave it 2 points, one for no, I think I only gave it 1 point, and I'll give it another point today. So all in all, where I'm at right now, with regards to how the setup is set and how the mystery is set, I would say with yesterday and today, 3 points. So 6.7, 6.8. I'm about at a 7 right now. If I add up the end of Black Peter and thinking about it for a couple of days and ending that one at a 6.7 in total, give and take. And now this one starting off pretty good. I would say I'm about a solid 7 with regards to the game so far. So that's where I'll leave myself, at a solid 7, and continue on from where I left off. The mystery of the disappearing train. So I was stuck on the fact that I used this to look at the tracks.
Trains can't just vanish without leaving a trace. It isn't possible, is it, Holmes?
Okay, so I was stuck with regards to not this, but when I left and I went outside and I proceeded down the track. And I believe I was stuck here because the train stopped here. Hearing cows in the distance, train mysteriously disappears. And yeah, so I believe the train initiated here and the game initiated the eye visual here. See, L1 for not for peripheral vision with eyes, but for perception with regards to the mind. And so it's playing from where I last left off.
This is the place where we saw the train vanish last night.
Railway sleepers. Nothing unusual. A discarded item, possibly thrown. There are no tracks or footprints on the ground. The rails have not been touched. There's nothing unusual here. There are no signs to indicate that the train ran off the track, nor are there any other traces. There is nothing whatsoever. There are no clues. But then, a negative result is also a result.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. No clues, and you're smiling.
Yes, Watson, I do smile on occasion. This mystery appears very promising. This investigation won't be simple. We shall require a map of the region.
Perhaps the station master could lend us one.
So that was the problem from yesterday. The problem from yesterday is that I was simply tired, because all I had to do was just press on the rails again at a different spot. That's all. Just walk a few feet further and press on the rails at a different spot, and then the story continues. It's amazing when you get just about an extra 3 hours of sleep what that could do for you. Okay, solve the mystery of the vanishing train. Find more information about the vanishing train or vanished train. Locate a map of the surrounding area. Would be useful for an investigation. So trains don't vanish unless there are projections. And the only way to do projections is to have an equipment that project the train. And during this time period, there weren't such things as projection. However, there were photo projections that could be used back in the days. So even though they weren't real projections, I think that came sometime later. But there were photo projections. Maybe because in this story it's saying there are real projections, and someone used it, which means that someone will have to be to an engineering level to understand how to use it, but not an engineer, at least to a level of competency to understand how futuristic technology would work, because using a projector during this time period wouldn't be considered standard operating procedure equipment. It would be something more with regards to adding to the improvement of society by exploring future tech, and that would be considered future tech, at least to the level to make a train seems that it's there and then all of a sudden disappears in the blink of an eye in front of people who are actually using physical vision. So inspect the rails where the train vanished. 1. Okay, so all I need is to locate a map and find more information about the vanished train. So those are my information. So to get information in regards to the disappearing train, I would have to go to the train station and see if there's a map here and speak to the guy with regards to the train route here. Are there any deviations from the train? Is there possibility of a place that the train can be derailed at? And if it is a place that the train can be derailed at, is there a possibility to project where that train can be derailed, or switching from rails, whether high or low, to project from where that train is supposed to be at a high or low onto this location, as in reflective light or reflection, where you cannot see the difference between two things at similar distances, but at certain angles, like looking in a mirror and seeing yourself, turn it to the side, you get reflections of oneself. So necessarily the eyes would see something coming on the rails here, but the person would have to know that it would be coming on the rails directly on this platform in this direction. Or it could be something as simply as fooling one's senses with drugs. So before I dive deep into the investigation, because to have a disappearing train is far more technical than to solve the mystery of a guy who's been killed, because you're able to work with a body, whereas an entire train disappears, which is a bit more complicated. So I'll speak to him first and see what he says.
Good morning. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Yes, I remember you. I'm Station Master Everett. You were here last night. So, you are Mr. Holmes, the great detective. Will you be investigating what happened?
I shall indeed.
It is extraordinary that an entire train could disappear like that. And to think of all the poor people inside it, the passengers, the driver.
Yes, he says some very interesting things. It is extraordinary for a train to disappear, which is normal for a person to say. But the person who would say these things wouldn't be following up with the passengers and the drivers. They'd be too caught up on the mystery of a disappearing train. I mean, from his perspective, he would normally say passengers and the driver, because he works here. But from outside viewpoint, that person will say, well, why do you care about the passengers and drivers? Well, that's because that's his job. But this is Sherlock Holmes we're talking about. So anything a person says can be used against them, no matter how long the person been working there. So let's investigate his body. Hmm. This would be a little strange. I mean, if he works at this station, the only way they could have spots of earth on his clothes is if he's actually doing more than just his job. He's also doing manual labor as well. Which is logic for that time period. I think, no, not really logic for that time period. Multitasking is something more logic for our time period. Back then, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Maybe one other thing, and that's it, and call it a day. Whatever was their proficiency, they did that, and maybe one other thing. Him doing freaking manual labor isn't probably one of those things. He's married, okay. Well, him being old and being married, that makes more sense. He has enough years and lifetime to spend to wait for someone and then eventually get married to them. So there's nothing suspicious about that. Possibly met his wife while working here because he's been here for so long. Um, it doesn't say anything about his fingernails, so he doesn't care about that.
I would be glad to have a detailed map of the local railway district.
But of course, please. Take the one that's pinned inside the waiting hall.
Could you please give us any details about the train?
Well, there was nothing so very special about it. At least not that I can recall. My memory's not what it used to be. However, if you need it, you can have the train composition report. It's inside my office.
It appears that there was a small warehouse near your station and that it was disassembled. Why is that?
It was burgled overnight about 2 weeks ago. The police have already started their investigation, but I doubt that they'll find anything.
What was inside the warehouse?
Nothing of value. A few 100 feet of standby rails and some spare railway parts. But it wouldn't be easy to steal all of that. Why would anyone want to?
See you later, my good man.
Standby rails and railway parts. Okay, so the rails were stolen to give the illusion that the train would be coming down this way. Rails were already set, so there would be no need to rebuild the train track if there were already rails here. So they took the rails and they set up the rails somewhere else. Otherwise they would have to derail this and then build a fictitious rail just to do a testing here. But then a lot of people, including him, would eventually hear this, and of course it would get the noise will eventually travel and someone would investigate. So it couldn't have been something like that. He is a certain age and he is married, and about the only thing I would say that rational with regards to that stands out is the spot of earth on his jacket. But if he does stuff like anything manual labor related, it can only be one or two things. Whether his other job is, or task is that he does for himself or told to do, it requires him to open and close things. Could have been the warehouse, or he fell when he saw something or heard something on the ground. So spot of earth wouldn't be something like him falling ground here. It would be something like on grass area, or dirt area. I didn't look at the ground with relations to where the warehouse is. So I'll try it again and see if I see any spot of earth stuff here. Well, I think I'm using the wrong one.
But I don't understand, Holmes. Why would anyone destroy the shed in such a manner?
So there's also the mystery there. They didn't only steal tracks, they destroyed the shed. That's the only thing that doesn't really make sense. There was no need to destroy the shed at all. Unless whatever was being made inside of the shed, and then it moved here and left from the shed. Or this exited out of the shed and slammed here. It seems more likely the case that something came from inside of it, or someone destroyed it from the outside just to get what they needed on the inside. But if someone destroyed from outside to get what they need from inside, this whole train station would have to be abandoned, and they would be quite aware that the sound would travel for a certain range with regards to an explosion. So they would have to know how many miles that sound would travel for someone to even investigate. Or so this would have to be done on a day where there are no one present, if it was an explosion.
But I don't... The whole...
This is left untouched. And this is...
This
here.
road should lead to the town of Evesham.
In Evesham, okay. So all I need to do is go inside, get the map, and I was hoping to check out a spot of earth somewhere around. Let's check out where the thing fell, or should I say where the illusionary train stopped, and see if the spot of earth is related to what was on the ground.
There are no tracks or footprints on the ground.
Yes, I remember. Strange that he doesn't identify what he suspects this thing is. Well, if it's not a spot of earth, then it's definitely unrelated to the old man.
Railway sleepers, nothing unusual.
And then this...
The rails have not been touched.
Yes.
There's nothing unusual here.
Okay, and then I go too far. And then I'm introduced to the old man. And his bio is... This man is in his 60s. Full head of gray hair. A gardening guy as well, another gardening guy. Well, I guess that makes sense. And so far, the only thing that connects the previous mission and this mission is spot of earth. gardening. Doesn't mean they're connected, just means that gardening is showing up again in this one. Okay, so if I go inside, I will get the map. Okay.
A new telegram.
I think we should meet this Mr. Robinson.
What is weird about the last mission and this one is I don't believe that there were any documents in the last mission. There were evidence and people and I believe I got a souvenir and maybe an echo, but no, not even an echo. So there were no documents and no echoes in the last one. But here there's a document. Mr. Robertson, message to all stations, Mr. Robertson. Burlington Station. Or Bridgelington Station, not Burlington. Or not Bridge either, like Bridlington. Says here, Nottingham, London. Train liner 324. Composition, locomotive, coal car, first class car, postal wagon, special wagon. Okay, it's a 324 liner and it's composed of the coal section of the car, first class section of the car, postal wagon where you put all the postage stuff, packages and stuff, special wagon where are only special orders by Mr. Robinson himself, only for Mr. Robinson. And second class car was for everyone else. So Mr. Robinson. Okay. So it was Mr. Robinson. Unless Mr. Nah, that's jumping the shark. Or at least stretching. Or outstretching, or no. It can't be related to the previous mission. Probably just a random dude.
A telegraph.
Nothing special about telegraph. It's just a telegraph. Unless Holmes wants to send a message, but... Platform tickets 1D to be given up on leaving platform. Tickets are bought here. Location line. Nothing there. And nothing. Bolton Abbey. Famous. Wait, what was that? Must be my imagination. Okay, those are too small to see.
Holmes, how is it even possible for a train to disappear?
Alright, so I got the map. Oh, I didn't get the map, I just read his stuff. Strange, I went inside there. Oh, I was supposed to go inside here probably. Or waiting hall. No. Warehouse. Let's check out everywhere while I'm at it. Let's go inside this, unless this... Okay, this is the mail room.
Railway post bags.
Okay. Nothing unusual. The train does take postage. I am interested in the special cart by Mr. Robinson. Not so interested in the waiting area for everyone normal. Be it a warehouse would have something in regards to special packages.
An old locomotive bell.
Well, I didn't hear any bell once that train was moving, so...
This part is probably from a locomotive. This place serves as a storage area for the station. This part is probably from a locomotive. This part is probably from a locomotive.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the warehouse other than this warehouse stuff. I should give it another point for Watson being able to get out the way. Sometimes people design games, they don't make the NPCs get out the way fast enough. But at least Watson, I think when Sherlock, the bot of Sherlock, or the guardian bot of Sherlock, by my hands, gets too close to Watson, at least the software knows that I'm trying to get past him, so get out the way. So that's good. So I'll give that a 7.1. It's not annoying, it's just good enough. Not yet. No time for that yet. Southwestern Railway, London Southwestern. Downtown train. No, these are probably unrelated. Just stuff to make the game looks pretty. So these are just things about different rail lines. Great Eastern Railway hotels. Everything located near the railway. Okay, so some things are related in here that I would say would come in handy, such as where trains would stop and where trains would leave from. I'm looking more for like detour rails, where trains would venture off and go in different directions, either up, down. Didn't say Mr. Robinson was staying at any hotel or anything with regards to a hotel. Western and Eastern railways, different locomotive types. Competing companies with regards to railways is not something related to this, unless it is about a competing company trying to ruin this railway. So this is the railway map.
This map will be useful.
Common map of a railway. Okay, so this is the eavesdrom and this is the map. It was grayed out before, but now it's nice and colored. So this is the rail station where I'm at. I'm located, eavesdrom, and it's highlighted by the circle of a little railway station in a circle. And the line for which the rail is traveling, it goes directly to Nottingham, and where it travels to London. So from Nottingham to London is the line of this train station. So depending on where I was standing, I believe she was coming from Nottingham, but I would have to, and there seems to be a pathway, a road pathway, several road pathways actually, going the Nottingham direction. One that's a direct line, that like a fork in the road. It's first pathway connecting to the rail line, and the second is like an entire huge pathway, but has like 3 intersections, and that's the closest to where the Evesham train station is. Probably the one I saw off in the distance. Maybe not near to the warehouse, but the one I saw in the distance. I'm probably not allowed to go at that distance anyway. So, spot of detection. If a train was to disappear, or if a train was to travel in any pathway, it would have to be on a pathway that's at least smooth enough for it to travel, because it's a heavy ass train, and not something that would go over mountains or something that's too close to water, because then that'll screw everything up, unless we're talking about a train. And this is a locomotive based on coal locomotive, not based on steam, so the water thing wouldn't be good. And there's no real pathway other than the regular pathways. Yeah, so there's no up or down. There's only a single other pathway, which is a regular road. So if a train was to disappear, let's say in a cave or something, or on a path, it would have to be this long path, or near this crevice or cave. It seems to be going downwards, a pathway that goes downwards. So if a train was to surface, it would have to surface from underground and come up through a cave onto the railroad track, and then descend back into the cave. Well, if that's the case, Holmes and Watson, seeing it at a distance, would see it turn rather than it just disappear. So, making detours. Okay, I'll go with that for now. What's that, whiskey? Medicinal herbs. 2 trains daily. Western and Eastern. Well, the only thing I would say that could possibly be in relations to why a train would disappear is conflict of interest. Someone worked for someone and they don't like it or something. Or